What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dead on Dave. Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you just watched my epic Monday Night Raw review. It was pretty damn good. Well, not Raw, but I mean the review. Raw was okay, but I enjoyed the review. It was fun. I wanted to go ahead and jump right into a few news stories in the world of WWE that I wanted to talk about because there seemed to be a lot of news coming out of last night. So I wanted to go ahead and address some of it. So let's jump right into it. Let's start with the John Cena interview on the WWE Network with Chris Jericho directly after Raw. There seems to be a ton of heat and hatred coming out about this interview. Most people were not happy with the fact that Austin was being replaced, even though so many people were so mad that Austin was lobbing questions to Vince and Triple H. Now, Chris Jericho, some would think, aside from a couple of hard-hitting questions like the steroids question and the heel question, other than that, it was lob softball. But I mean, what were they expecting this to be? What did people want to see out of this interview? It's on the network. Jericho is very much a company guy. I don't think he kissed Cena's ass. I don't think he kissed the WWE's ass either. I feel that it seemed very genuine that they had respect for each other. I don't understand what people want from these interviews. These are not being designed as shoots. You know, they're not being promoted as shoots. I don't get what people are wanting from these interviews. This isn't Barbara Walters on ABC or CBS or friggin' any other channel interviewing them on their terms. This is a WWE hosted show giving more content to the WWE network, on the network, by the network, for the network. So I don't understand what people exactly are wanting. That being said, I didn't think the interview was that bad. I hate Cena, and I didn't think the interview was that bad. I respect what Cena's done in the business, and I believe most of what he says is fairly accurate. I don't think that he just says things because, oh, it's what Vince wants him to say. I'm not sure if that's really the case. I believe he really does feel this way about the kids. I really do believe that. Look, you could say what you want about, oh, Cena's just a company product, whatever. Nobody ever, past or present, being a face of an organization or the face of a franchise, a sports team, let alone a fucking wrestling federation, has ever done the amount of good work with kids that John Cena's done. All right? And you can't do what, approaching 400 Make-A-Wishes, whatever he's done. You can't do that many without genuinely enjoying it. Okay? You just can't. Nobody's that friggin' phony, and it's ridiculous to even try to consider it any other way. This guy is serious about who he is, and I think he does feel like he has an obligation to those kids. But that being said, he said he would welcome the opportunity to go heel, but hopes that they would have somebody next in line for the kids. There was a lot in this interview that I thought that he said, and I don't think that it was that bad at all. I think that the conversation about The Rock, I thought that was pretty hard-hitting. I thought it was a pretty good conversation. Pretty open, I felt. Cena and Jericho really didn't let him just sit on it. They talked quite openly. It seemed like it's not a shoot, but it's certainly not, oh, hey, Johnny. You know, it was a good interview. It was a decent interview. I thought there was a lot of information that was covered. What do they want? I don't understand what people want from these things. So quit bitching about them and either don't watch them or enjoy them. That's the way I'm looking at it, you know? I'm just trying to enjoy the show, and I think it was a decent little show to watch as extra content on the network. Would I rather have Austin? Sure, but it didn't happen. We're going to talk about Austin and many other things. We got a lot of stuff to get to, a lot of news in the world of WWE, but I wanted to start with that. Speaking of Stone Cold Steve Austin, let's go ahead and turn to him. There's been all kinds of rumors that there's been heat between him and WWE, and that's the reason why Austin is not doing the podcast anymore on WWE Network. Well, Austin addressed all of these rumors on the latest episode of the Steve Austin Show, and he says, this is all according to Austin, from Austin's mouth. These are his words, all right? Austin said there is no heat on him from WWE for allegedly missing WrestleMania 31. He brought up the rumor that he was supposed to be on the flight with The Undertaker and said that was not true. He said it was bullshit. He said he was never a part of any creative decisions for him to participate in WrestleMania 31. Austin said he didn't turn anything down. He simply wasn't there, and he was never scheduled to be there. I'm going to take Austin at his word. He also addressed the Tough Enough rumors and said that it had nothing to do with him turning Tough Enough down. He was going to do Tough Enough. There was a deal for it. It was supposed to be filmed in February to March, but it hasn't happened yet. It still hasn't been filmed, but it was supposed to be. And had it have been, Austin could have done it. But because it has not been filmed, Austin is now obligated through the Broken Skull Ranch commitments to do more episodes of that. And he's got to film that at the same time that Tough Enough will be filming. So he can do it. And there's no heat for it. It just didn't work out. He's saying that it's not WWE's fault that it wasn't filmed on time. There were things that were beyond their control, and it's just how it's sussed out. And he said there's no heat on it for that. Again, I'm going to take him at his word. He also addresses the rumors about the podcast not being on the network. He said this is the one that probably is the most true. He says they were going to come to a deal to move forward to do more, but it just didn't happen. And they're just not going to move forward with it. Austin said he heard that Vince wasn't happy about the questions for him and Triple H. And Austin said that's not true. Austin called that bullshit as well. So Austin is basically shooting down every single one of these rumors, and he's doing it on his own podcast. And this isn't to save face with WWE audience. Austin's never cared about that, and he never will. So finally he addresses that, the WWE is going in their own direction, and he's going in his right now. And down the road, they'll probably hook up, and it'll probably be gangbusters when they do. He's always going to love WWE. He's always going to keep the door open. But right now, there's no heat nowhere. It's cool. It's time to move on. That's what he says. So I'm going to take Austin as his word. I'm sure a lot of people are going to read into it and go, well, obviously what Austin's really saying. No, what Austin's really saying is shut the fuck up. That's what Steve Austin's saying. Shut up. He's talked about it all he wants to. He's tired of the rumors. This is how he's addressing it. Leave the shit alone. What's the big deal? If there's not a problem, there's not a problem. Let's move on. That being said, I do feel, and I just know that I was talking about how I didn't mind the Jericho podcast. I think they need somebody else, and I have a feeling that Jericho's podcast is going to be short-lived. Jim Ross was at that NXT event. Jim Ross did talk about a wrestling-related opportunity. Now, I know that was the calling matches, but what about Jim Ross's podcast on the WWE Network? What about Jim Ross asking questions to Vince McMahon? How would that be? That would be, to quote Steve Austin, gangbusters. That would be amazing. I would really, really like to see that. So hopefully that puts the things with Austin to bed. What else we got here? Let's see. For those of you wondering what happened after Monday Night Raw went off the air, let me fill you in. The Authority brought Ryback and Randy Orton back down to the ring, where all three of them, those two including Roman Reigns, were beaten down. Eventually they got the upper hand, fought back, cleared the ring, surrounded Kane, and everybody hit their finishers on Kane to end the show. There's also reports coming out that a lot of people in the crowd left before the number one Contenders Triple Threat main event. That's interesting. I mean, look, these three guys, one dude, you got three different forms of development. I mean, Ryback is kind of becoming the new dude to appeal to kids. It seems like kids are really starting to love the guy. Reigns is this weird character that nobody seems to be able to connect with. And Randy Orton is Randy Orton. I mean, as much as we like to see him as a face, people don't really know what to do with him most of the time. So this main event probably was not super exciting to people, so they bounced. I find it a little weird that anybody paying for an event would, especially a Monday Night Raw, would leave. And I certainly didn't see that effect in the crowd. I didn't hear a big change in the crowd or anything like that. I didn't see anybody leaving. So I find that a little weird and maybe dubious, but I have no idea. These are reports from the crowd. I don't know though. This is that's a weird thing. I don't think Raw was so god awful that leaving at that point in the night makes a lot of sense. But hey, you never know. It's Texas and they do things a little bit different. Who the hell knows? But it seemed like the crowd was mainly into most of the night, but I'm not really sure. What do you guys think? Tell me what you think in the comment section below. What else we got here? A little bit more news coming out of Monday Night Raw. There's the new updated card for Extreme Rules, which is free on the WWE Network this month, by the way. I find that pretty cool. April is free for new subscribers. That's pretty badass. The updated card, because of the events that transpired on Monday Night Raw, are as followed. Randy Orton and Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight title. Rusev and John Cena for United States Championship. And a match I didn't even know was official. The Intercontinental title will be defended by Daniel Bryan against Bad News Barrett. Now, I'm sure there'll be stipulations added to all three of those matches, and we'll see what they will be. That should be interesting. So that explains exactly why Sheamus is targeting Dolph Ziggler now, because those two obviously get it on at Extreme Rules with Bad News Barrett and Daniel Bryan being in the Intercontinental title match. So that's pretty cool. Are you excited about any of those matches? What else do you want to see for the remainder of the Extreme Rules card? What stipulations do you want to see for those matches? Put it in the comment section below or tweet me at my Twitter at DeadOnDaveV, hashtag stipulations, and tell me what stipulations you want to see. All right? What else we got here? Quick update to the last story. Wade Barrett indicated on Twitter, he actually announced on Twitter that he will be invoking his rematch clause to face Daniel Bryan at Extreme Rules. So that's where that news was broken. I didn't know that, just found that out now. Okay, so that makes sense. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay, following up on reports from the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony that Scott Steiner was banned from the building. We know that to be true. We've seen the pictures. But the story on exactly what had happened have been sketchy at best. That is, until now, thanks to TMZ, the most reliable news source on the planet as far as I'm concerned, because they're only in the job for themselves. They don't care about agendas or shit. They just fucking show everything. That's why I like TMZ. Go TMZ. They have stumbled on or investigated and found out that Scott Steiner at baggage claim in San Jose went up to Hulk Hogan's wife, grabbed her by the arm, and said he was going to kill Terry as soon as he landed. So this ultimately is what led to him being banned. Now, this happened when they landed in San Jose. So TMZ reports that Jennifer is Hulk Hogan's wife, didn't immediately recognize Steiner, big surprise, but she did call Hulk Hogan, who took the next flight to San Jose and went with her to file a police report the next morning. This is all public record, so we know this is true. Steiner is now being investigated for felony terrorist threats, and police have airport surveillance video that shows Steiner confronting Hulk's wife. When asked by TMZ what happens, Steiner, in typical Steiner fashion, simply replied, "Typical Hogan, he's just a punk." Okay. Jesus. I love Scott Steiner just because he's absolutely insane. This man is absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and I love it. I love how nuts this guy is. He does weird shit. He throws everybody under the bus. This guy has definitely taken a lot of drugs in his life, and most of them are probably steroids. And they have rotted his brain out because he's absolutely insane. the thing is, the story not only obviously is being corroborated by a lot of different things, it just makes sense. Close your eyes right now and tell me you cannot imagine Big Papa Pump walking up, grabbing Hulk's wife and saying, I'm going to kill that motherfucker as soon as he lands. It makes total sense. He probably stuttered and stammered and screwed up the line as he said it, but he probably did say it. Let's face it, Scott Steiner is absolutely insane, and God bless him for it. What else we got here? A little bit of diva intrigue for next week's Monday Night Raw Divas Battle Royal to crown a new #1 contender on Raw. Now remember, this is in London. So Charlotte, she went on Twitter and not only confirmed that she was going to be at the NXT live events, but it's always possible to change plans. And she could be flying out to London on Sunday. Now, this all comes about because she went on Twitter and said, Divas Battle Royal, ? Will that include NXT Divas? It's Bayley, WWE, Sasha Banks, WWE, Becky Lynch, WWE, and the toughest diva in the game, Woo, WWE, NXT. So Charlotte is trying to lobby for those 4 to be in the sorry, I read the entire friggin' Twitter handles. I'm so lame. So Charlotte is obviously lobbying for all 4 of them to be in this #1 contenders match for the Divas crown. Now that's pretty cool. I would like to see all 4 of them in there. What do you think? Should these 4 be in that match? It would be a nice little surprise, but the fact that it's in London makes me think that it probably won't. So that should be quite interesting. We'll see what happens there. If they are not in it, who are your picks to win the Divas Battle Royal? Go ahead and tweet me at my Twitter at ThatOnDaveV or put it in the comment section below who you think is going to win. Hashtag Divas Battle Royal. And go ahead and put the name of a winner after that. All right? What else we got here? So it appears that the Authority being on vacation is not just a storyline for the week. It appears that Stephanie McMahon could be absent for another month, maybe even as long as 5 weeks. And the reason for that is she is part of the Eisenhower Fellows multinational program. What that is exactly, well, let me explain. Beginning April 5th, the Eisenhower Fellows in the MNP multinational program, multi-nation program, were scheduled to go on a 4 to 5 week trip visiting 1 or 2 countries that they selected from a list of 42 potential destinations, including Australia, India, Nigeria, Bangladesh, and others. We don't know for sure that Stephanie is on the Eisenhower Fellows trip, but it was scheduled to begin in April 5th, so the dates do match up. So it looks like she was supposed to be a part of that, and there's an explanation as to why. What is that going to mean to storylines? I have no idea. Does Triple H now become more involved with the Authority once again, or are they just going to continue to let this situation with Kane and the Authority kind of simmer a little bit, and let's see what happens down the line? Is Kane going to be removed? Will Triple H get involved for that? Is this a full implosion for the Authority? How are they going to continue the storyline without one of the key ingredients, and that's being Stephanie McMahon? And something else to talk about is without her, and potentially without Heyman, the WWE is really without its 2 top talkers on the mic right now. So what kind of impact is that going to have on the product? Good question. Let's find out. Well, let's see what else we got. Finally, we have one more story that we're going to talk about. A couple of things coming out of WrestleMania 31 weekend. And they're kind of big stories, so let's go ahead and follow up on them. First, AJ Lee. It's being reported now that she likely knew she was going to retire. And keep in mind, all of this is basically coming from the dirt sheets, Wrestling Inc., a couple other places. But she likely knew she was going to retire from the WWE going into WrestleMania 31. But it's believed she did not inform any officials within WWE of her retirement until after the match, because she feels that they probably would have had her lose if they knew she was retiring so soon. I don't know about that story. That doesn't seem like something that she would like commonly say to somebody. I think even to think it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Well, they're going to have me lose. I don't know. Look, I understand there's a lot of manipulation and a lot of paranoia and all that, but I mean, that seems a little bit ridiculous to me, but what are you going to do? It is what it is, I guess, right? Anyway, the other big story, of course, everybody was talking about Roman Reigns' father, Sika, being furious over the fact that Reigns did not get the title at WrestleMania 31, and apparently his uncle, Afa, was also not happy, but nowhere near as mad as Sika. Now, it appears there were some in the family who were so pissed off that they wanted Reigns to quit WWE over the loss. But it should be noted that Roman Reigns has been reported to have really taken the loss well, which I think says a lot about who he is and his character. I think that's a good thing, and not letting his family mess up the opportunity that he has in front of him now. So that's a good thing. Hopefully, going forward, he will do very good things and not allow the family to kind of mess that up. So I think that's all I got on the news today. Hope you guys enjoy this little WWE news update. If you have any other tips or anything that you think needs to be talked about on the show or you want to hear talked about, go ahead and send it to me on Twitter or on Facebook or right here in the comment section below, and I will be sure to make a note of it. And maybe I'll even put it on. Who knows? All right, thanks, guys, for joining me once again. Appreciate it. Make sure you watch this and the Monday Night Raw review that is now up. Other than that, I am out of here. We will talk to you guys later. Thanks for joining me. Like, subscribe, and share. As always, peace.